Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Parenting Hour. We're tuned into Unity FM 93.5 here in Birmingham and 105.1 down south in Luton and near London. Thank you for all tuning in this evening. MashaAllah, we are looking forward to a lovely session with you this evening. Although this is pre-recorded, we're just pre-recording it right before it's going out live this evening to you. So we're practically live going out, inshallah. I hope Ramadan is going well for everybody. MashaAllah, it's been a wonderful first few days of Ramadan. I know it may be a bit difficult as we've just got into a routine of lockdown and working from home and being with your children, and now you're changing routines again. But it's a wonderful time to be together, to have that time together, to grow our relationships together, and to make our homes a mosque, like what is the hashtag going around at the moment. I've just come off of a live Facebook session and I was asking parents to send in their pictures. So listeners, if you're listening to this, can you send in your pictures also and your tips about Ramadan with your families, so to encourage other families and what they can do to make life easier and better for them this Ramadan, inshallah. May Allah accept all your efforts and your deeds, inshallah, ameen. Now this evening we have a very interesting guest, and there is a lot I could say about him in his introductions, mashallah. He does a lot of things. I don't know where he gets time to do all of these. Mashallah, you are cardiologist, yes, voluntary imam and chaplain, a BIMA Foundation and council member, and also on the ethical board, mashallah, as well as being a father, which is the most important thing for us. And talking about this on Parenting Hour, we love dads being on board and we love talking to dads and getting them involved in these conversations. Of 4 boys, mashallah. I only have 2, so I take up my hat to you to have 4 of them, mashallah, 4 children but 2 boys. So 4 boys there, you nearly have a football team. And you live in Swansea, but currently working in Stockport, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you, Dr. Amir? Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah, sister.
Wa alaikum salam. Welcome to Parenting Hour. Welcome to Unity FM. It's a privilege having you on the show this evening, mashallah. We have a lot of worried parents, worried families that are concerned about what's going on with the COVID challenges, and now we're in Ramadan, and I was trying to remind them on my Facebook Live about staying patient, taking one characteristic and kind of focusing on that this month, of staying patient and being patient with their children and encouraging their children to fast and do a bit more this Ramadan, and looking at how it's a blessing rather than it's a chore at home. Ramadan, we're all cramped in together. Actually, what a wonderful blessing that we're not rushing around, that we're not having to drive off to the mosque, that we're not having to do loads of things, that we actually can be there with our children and have that time together to build our family units. So what would you like to say to our listeners this evening, that as they're going into Ramadan, how could they appreciate Ramadan more?
Shall I start first by saying Ramadan Mubarak to everybody? I hope that this Ramadan will be a unique Ramadan, different from any previous Ramadan, and that is probably for the non-reason that we are now in a special quarantine position, that although many of us think that it is stressful and it is difficult, and we're not going to have our iftar and we're not going to join our families as usual, but I think there is a lot of care in it, inshallah, that with difficulty comes ease. That with this, inshallah, there'll be a lot of opportunities. There'll be a lot of challenges for us to rise up to this degree of testing that Allah putting us in this Ramadan, with us being separated from our family, physical, and I hope we are not separated mentally and spiritually. So if you start by saying what this COVID challenge in this Ramadan for us, we can divide this to many levels. So if we start talking about the personal level, as a human beings, we are accustomed to be with others. So if you're going to be alone, and especially not leaving our houses most of the time, unless we are working in a key worker, then that itself can start causing loneliness to people. People will feel lonely, and they will miss their friends, they will miss their mate, especially business mate if they're not working. And that sometimes can progress if people cannot recognize that it starts to affect them. Some people might end up with feeling anxious, anxiety, agitated. That if it is not treated and if it is not recognized and sorted, it might even pass to the level of depression. Now, this is obviously not easy, and it can happen to everybody. Nobody can be protected from it, especially with the job problems. A lot of people are not able to go to work, and they lose financially for that, and that have its consequences and start like a domino effect in their lives. Beside obviously the loneliness and feeling anxious. So this is some of the personal challenges that many of us may be passing it in this Ramadan. On the other level, community level, as a community, we are accustomed to go for the mosque. In Ramadan, we break our iftar combined in congregation. We love the night of Ramadan with Taraweeh. We love the family life that comes with Ramadan, the food style of Ramadan, the sweets, the joy of the kids. All that going to be a challenge for us as a community. How are we going to adjust that? How are we going to cope in our community with that? And that can cause some of our smaller communities, like, for example, we've got lovely communities of Syrian refugees in the country. So these can be more lonely than others. And especially their opportunity of Ramadan, or other refugees from other Muslim countries, they feel more at home because they come to the masjid, they share the meal, they share the community spirit there. So it is not going to be easy, but inshallah there will be solutions that we will talk about it on the second part. Now, another level, the challenges is the health challenges. As a doctor, as a cardiologist, and a doctor working in the NHS now, we all feel that how much worry that people have on their health and on their loved ones, on their elders, on their father and mothers, and everybody that they might get the virus, and they might have health issues that cause trouble for them, especially so if they are on the vulnerable group, i.e. people who got certain diseases or have beyond certain age, or have some special medical conditions that require special attention. So all that also put a lot of stress on us as a health professional, how to deal with such people, how to manage their life, how to advise them. And this is some of the challenges that I can see that COVID bring us in this Ramadan. And especially so because Ramadan is against all that loneliness. Ramadan is about community, about combining our meals, combining our salat, Taraweeh, combining our visit and forgiveness, and people forgive each other, and families, if they have some tensions, they'll come together and try to amend the relationship. All of that comes with against our Ramadan this time, because we have to understand that for our own safety, for the safety of our community, for the safety of our elders, for the safety of our families, for the safety of the public, we need to stop all of that temporarily, inshallah, this Ramadan only, and inshallah things will get better in a few weeks' time, few months' time, and things will get back to normal. So it's a challenge for us how we adjust our life from personal level to community level to health and government corporation level, how to manage that.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned a lot there, and I mean there's three main categories there. If we look at them a little bit more deeper, I suppose, looking at that personal level, looking at that loneliness, and people that you mentioned about anxiety, and people may feel alone. Now that they're at home with this, how can they change this around or change this way of thinking? And because sometimes we think of the issues and the problems, and so much of the problems, and it's like that big iceberg there. There's lots of problems going on, and they're taking over our life. But how can we melt down that iceberg to to start changing things to positives, to things that I can manage, things that I can actually do something about. Because some of the things we, as you mentioned, we can't do anything about the regulations at the moment. We're locked in our houses, unfortunately, and we can't change anything about that. We can't change the weather. It's raining today. We've had beautiful weather, but we can change the way maybe we can think about these things, and so we don't, that anxiety doesn't increase into depression. What would you be? How would you advise people around this?
Yeah, and Jazakallah khair, sister. I think this good point that you started, which is that as a human beings, not only Muslims or believers, or sometimes we think about the problem for most of the time and concentrate about it, and sometimes even over magnifying it or oversizing it, and start to worry about it without thinking that yes, it is a problem, it is happening. What can I do about it, whether on any level, personal, community, or otherwise? So I think the first point is that recognizing that life is a test, is a trial for all of us, and that's how us as a Muslim we believe, as a believer in God, that the whole life is a test, how we can manage our life and then pass that test overall. So I thought that we're going to divide things at the end, or we can start talking about it from now. It's up to you.
But you think if you're going into it as a test, and maybe you're now thinking about that, that's a good analogy. Yes, life is a test, but how can we get people to think of performing in this test now? You know, what do we need to do in increasing our performance, especially in the month of Ramadan, if we're being tested at home? What preparations should we be doing around that?
Yeah, so if you come on the personal level, everybody knows himself or herself. So if you are a kind of person like what you call introvert, or you have few friends and you're not that talkative, you're not that vocal, and it's going to be a bit more harder than if you are on the extrovert, if you are the one chatty, social, and have many friends. So again, look to the positive side of it. You probably recognize that you got 1 or 2 or 3 mates. Try to be to contact with them. Try to keep their phone numbers and WhatsApp and communicate with them. Try to have, if you got any difficulty, ring them and ask about them. Understand their time scale, if they're working, when they can be around, when you can chat with them, when you can even go exercise with them, because it's allowed to go exercising as long as you keep the safe distancing. So if you've got a friend that you like to chat or talk about it, whether you are a man or a woman, then it's a good idea that both of you go to the park together, have some physical exercise as well as chat through this 2-meter distance that keeps safe distance between you. And especially in the last few weeks, we have a lovely weather. Yes, maybe today and the next week may be a bit rainy. The weather is not that great, but it doesn't matter. You can chat in any weather. So this is a first step, that keep your close friend around and keep him or her updated about your mental state. So if you start to feel touchy, anxious, talk to somebody. Do not keep it inside. Let go and let vent your emotion. And the mere way of just talking to somebody is a lot of relief to many people, especially people who are a bit have few friends around. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing, is try to always to have a safety net of somebody that you can talk to. Now, there's also some Muslim helpline. There's Muslim youth helpline. There's women's helpline. There's women's on the other side. There's like domestic abuse helplines also. So there's many helplines available for people who are finding themselves they are in a state of loneliness, and they're not only physically lonely but also mentally and socially lonely.
So there's a lot of challenges individually for people, as you're mentioning, that they may be feeling lonely, but actually they could be surrounded with their own family there and still feeling that loneliness there, because they're missing that connection with their mates, as you put it, and that inner talking, that connection and the talking together. So although they may have others around them, they may still be feeling lonely and may need they may feel that they're slipping down into some sort of an anxiety and need to talk to a professional there, which is really good advice in doing it. And is there other challenges for the individual then that is at home, before we go into the other, the community and the health, etc.? Is there other challenges that individuals like parents would have, other challenges that professionals like yourself, working from home, working in the hospital, the challenges there that you have met, and how can we help people with the different challenges?
Yeah, for this remark. I think this is another point, is that we have now social media, but on the family side, we got one of the problem that sometimes some of the Muslim families and human beings in general now, because of the social media, everybody have been linked to his or her phone more than the family, more than their relative, more talking, and sometimes this can induce a social disconnection with the family member. So it's in fact, there is a new job now called connection advisor. That there is some people who are, their job try to advise us in families that, for example, that all the phones should be kept downstairs 1 hour before everybody goes to bed. No phone goes to to bedrooms, and the last 1 hour will be people washing their teeth, maybe reading a little bit of a book or something, chatting with their mom and dad, and then and going to bed without any phone. And this is what the advice of a connection, one of the advices of a connection advisor. The other thing is that you need to keep your phone as much as you can away from yourself at work. Try to make your work without the phone, only use it in the rest time, which is the lunchtime or not, or something like that. For youth, which is get like addicted to the phone, try to use the phone sensibly. Like I'll agree with myself that I'm going to use the phone today 2 hours or 3 hours, and that's it. There is even some software now that check your daily uses of the phone, and so that you'll prevent addiction over that. But obviously, the phone sometimes can be a solution. In case if you are not having anybody around you, then might be social media, Instagram, or the WhatsApp, or the other Facebook. Then that can be a possibility that you chat to your relatives or to your friends, even maybe in a different country rather than different town. So it can both ways. So this is another way of how people can get help for that. But equally so, if you find yourself that you are as a person depressed and anxious, try to seek help. Now, this brings us to the second level in which we have which is the professional level, in which we have people coming to us and doing talking to us. In fact, I am a cardiologist, and nowadays, the last 1 month, most of the hospitals now are doing consultation over the phone, because we try to minimize the risk of people coming. Most of our patients nowadays are elderly. So talking to people over the phone, you can sense how much stress there, and some people want to talk to you more and more, and you don't have even time. So, but the mere socializing with them, the mere explaining to them, they will, especially if they are elderly, above 70, 80, it gives them comfort, it gives them hope about things, give them some advices about what to look into, things like on the YouTube, or videos, or a book that suggests how to handle stresses. Like there's wonderful books about health, there are wonderful books about how you keep yourself and de-stress. So all that can help people to look into a solution from loneliness.
Excellent indeed, and these are tips that we need to be getting out there, because sometimes in Ramadan people feel that it's such a spiritual month specifically, that we should all be on a high and we shouldn't be complaining, and we should be touching ourselves or bring ourselves closer to Allah and reading Quran and fasting, and this is the connection that we should be throwing ourselves into. But actually this is a very unusual situation, and with all of the other things going on as well around us, we need to be able to understand that that's still happening. It's not, if we're not able to do or concentrate on our prayers like we were before, it may be because we are worried or these anxieties are coming in, and we do need to seek professional help, as you mentioned. So you mentioned a lot of helplines there, the Muslim Youth Helpline for young people, the Muslim Women's Network, they have a helpline as well. There's a lot of counsellors, mashallah, that are coming in and doing a lot of work there, which actually probably leads me in, and I know I'm diverting away from the other points that we wanted to talk about, but it kind of leads me into talking about BIMA and what BIMA are doing as part of this, because all of these people are actually part of what BIMA has organised, including ourselves from Approachable Parenting, to be there to give advice and support to individuals, to parents, to professionals. So can you tell us a little bit about BIMA, and we will, I promise we'll come back and we will deal with everything else. If we don't get into it before the break, we will come back to it after the break. Just tell our listeners a little bit about BIMA before we go into the break, because I think some of them might not know about what is BIMA. What does it stand for?
So BIMA stands for British Islamic Medical Association. It's a professional body that comprises health professionals from all sorts of things. It was founded in 2013 with about 2 to 3 years of preparation before that. So we could say that our work has been for the last 10 years. It's the only medical organization for Muslims in UK that combine all health professionals, some of them only for doctors, some other specific specialties, but we accept doctors, dentists, pharmacists, midwives, technician, even chaplain. Anybody who works in the health service or can give to the health service and improve it, we accept him or her as with us in BIMA. Now, it was founded to try to address a niche or a requirement in the community that the current medical association or organization at that stage was not fulfilling the need. I am still a member from other previous organization like IMA, like MDDA, and these organizations have limited activities. They're good, and mashallah, inshallah, we hope they will continue to work, but their activity was not up to what people need. And that's why when there is a need, people will get to find something else or alternative. The health need of health professionals is try to address a simple concept of trying to merge the professional life with the spiritual Muslim life. So addressing the things that interfere between the two. So as a Muslim, there is a lot of challenges, there is a lot of requirement for you in this country, but as a professional, you have another set of guidelines and requirements to do, and sometimes there might be some apparent contradiction and challenges and issues, and how you solve that. So that's why BIMA came to existence from people around UK, and we 85 person have started the meeting in 2013 in Markfield Institute when we found this institution. Alhamdulillah, it grows since then. Now we got around 3,000 members, and we are now involving also all areas of UK.
MashaAllah, what an achievement, MashaAllah, which is absolutely wonderful that we have an organization like this. So just before we go into the commercial break, can you give me a little bit of the subdivision of BIMA, because you have a lot of things going on this Ramadan. You have, I know, the mental health campaign that we're involved in, but you have lots of different campaigns. I'm sure you know them off the top of your tongue like this, and that you're able to refer to them, inshallah, and then afterwards we can go back and talk to a little bit more detail about them. So
yeah. So BIMA have a simple three slogan, which is unite, inspire, and serve. So this is our vision in BIMA. So we aim to unite the Muslim community and professional, inspire them to do good so that they can serve the Muslim community and the community as a whole. So we divide BIMA to many groups. So we got regions. So we got Scotland, we got Wales, we got England. We hope that we'll try, inshallah, to expand to North Ireland. Then we got the executive committee, we got the council, which is the umbrella body that run BIMA, and there is the executive committee, and under that there is the regions, and then we divide our work into projects. So we got projects working on it in different areas. So, for example, the Lifesaver project that we've been doing, teaching Lifesaver skills in the mosque since 5 years, grow from 3 mosques to more than 100 mosques. We got health promotion, teaching people and educating the public regarding cancer screening, regarding organ donation, regarding mental health, cardiovascular problems. We got a project for the women group, and that come from it, bare below the elbow, theater hijab, in which we produce a paper that the restriction of the bare below the elbow have affected some of the ladies and prevented some of them to go into their dream of being a surgical candidate. And now, alhamdulillah, we're putting that in a paper about how we can work and bypass that problems.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. We're going to have to go into a commercial break. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to stop you there. And we're going to come back after commercial break to go into talk about more about all the sub-categories of BIMA. Listeners, do tune into us after this commercial break. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Parenting Hour. You're tuned into Unity FM 93.5 here in Birmingham, 105.1 in Luton. My name is Kathleen, and I'm with you for the next half an hour in Parenting Hour, where we're really deep in conversation with Dr. Amr, talking about BIMA. MashaAllah, he was giving us lots of details before the break of all the things BIMA do and did in the past and will do hopefully in the future. And I love the inspiration behind it. Unite, inspire, and serve. I mean, this is really something that we can all take into our lives, especially in this blessed month of Ramadan, how maybe we can unite, inspire others, and serve our communities together. But I cut you off. I'm so sorry, Doctor, before the break there. You were in the middle of telling us all the different branches of BIMA and what you're doing. Would you like to continue that indeed? Maybe you could refresh some of the ones that you've mentioned already, so that some new listeners only just joining us, that they know all the things that we do.
Jazakallah khair. We did say that part of the BIMA work is a project. So we got the Lifesaver project, teaching Lifesaver once a year, but with the help of the British Heart Foundation all over the masajid in UK. We got the health promotion project. We have many section of it regarding cancer screening, regarding mental health, cardiovascular disorders. We got organ donation, and we had a big campaign on organ donation, more than 6 to 7 areas in which we done talk about organ donation to try to inform and educate the Muslim community about organ donation. We got the Ramadan campaign, which we are now in Ramadan. Last year we are a successful Ramadan campaign on both level, professional, how to choose the medication for people to and their lifestyle as a doctor, as a professional, as well as for the patient, how to think about your Ramadan and plan your days. We got the dress code and theater hijab that we also help our ladies with to try to cope as health professional and manage their life and professional life. So this is some of the project that BIMA do, and with COVID now, we have in the last 2 to 3 months, alhamdulillah, we managed to work some resources regarding COVID, and that will inshallah we'll mention that in the resources section, in which we done health promotion about what myths about COVID. We can see that some YouTube and some channels that people saying that onion can treat COVID and hot water can evaporation can treat it, and we have all sort of people doing that, let alone politician trying to give some advices, the wrong advices to people. And we were producing some video clips saying that this is myths, and the treatment, the actual treatment, so far there is no treatment for COVID. What we are treating is supportive treatment when people get infected. On the level that I forget to mention is the community health professional level that we all know about it now because it's on the TV, is the testing and ventilation. In this country, we are proved that we are not prepared, and that should be one of the challenges for us in the NHS to improve in the next few months, so that we will not have another pandemic like that.
So you involved in this, in educating the communities through BIMA, because we have a huge Muslim community here, actually. We are very international in our Muslim community, and different levels of understanding about COVID. So there's lots of misinformation coming in, as you mentioned there. Is BIMA taking an active role in educating people about COVID?
Yes, we are. We are actually, about a month ago, on 23rd of March, we had one of our members, Dr. Fasih Khan. He done a lecture. He's a respiratory doctor specialist, and he's in that field. So we've done a wonderful lecture about COVID, the facts about COVID, and we managed to translate that in Urdu and Arabic. It was done obviously primarily in English, and it's available on YouTube. And it is a wonderful lecture, which is up-to-date information about it in a simple laywoman terms that everybody can understand. We got the health promotion side. We've done many videos about how people can manage this Ramadan with that comes with the COVID restriction, and it's available, all that clips available on our website on British IMA. So if you Google British IMA on Google, and you will find our website, and you go there, you'll find all that short videos available there, and you can watch them and enjoy them. They are all information that it is referenced and all checked. We have also information for the professionals. So we done for junior doctors, we done ICE FI1, how to cope with as a new doctor with all this information, because it's a new disease, nobody knows about it, and all the information is coming is relatively new, and everybody have to educate himself or herself about it. There's no harm in saying I don't know, and we've done a course to educate the new junior doctors graduated recently about COVID, concentrated COVID course, and we managed to have more than 400 attendees to that webinar, which was fantastic. We also have on the spirituality side, we have a program called Calming the Heart with Sheikh Chaudhry every Sunday from 6:30 to 7:30, and this is again concentrating mainly on the mental side, spiritual side of things. Obviously, mental here require people who get depressed. So from the religious point of view, what to do, how can I calm myself? Now, this is some of the resources. There is plenty that you can see it on the website, but this is some of the resources that BIMA have done. We actually also in BIMA produced this year very peer-reviewed advices regarding medical condition from 60 experts in the field around UK, and we publish it in about 104 pages, all the medical problems, and we put it as a grade or 3 grades, like a traffic light: red, amber, and green. So red is completely, you can't fast. Amber, it is highly risky for the person to fast. And then the green one is the low risk, yes, low risk fasting, and need to be discussed with your health professional. And we did mention that this is just a guidelines, and people should not take it as an alternative to their GP and doctor's advice. They have always to consult with their own doctors, because their own doctor know their health fully more than anybody else. But this is a help for the public in general and health professionals specifically. And we're trying to distribute it all over the country, and to help health professionals who are non-Muslim how to manage Muslim patient if he or she come to ask them about fasting.
That's really very beneficial to have that, and I love the traffic light system. Actually, I use it so much myself in many things, because it's so clear to be able to see that lights that shine out very clear to you. Is that available on the website, as you said, on the British IMA website as well?
Yes, all the links will be available there. So there'll be links for that.
Wonderful. So people themselves that are a bit worried, that haven't yet had those conversations with their doctors, but maybe would think, oh, is this something I should be thinking about or not? Actually can go to the website first, have a look, and then have the discussion with their doctors, because they know kind of roughly which character they're in then, whether they're in the red zone or whether they're in the green zone.
Yeah. For example, I'll tell you that, like somebody with asthma. So if it depends, obviously, if the asthma is severe or not, if it's mild, but it's a good start, because according to the government regulation, if you're asthmatic, you are most likely on the risky group or shielding group. However, if it is very mild and you haven't had a steroid, you haven't had any attack in the last year that require hospital admission, then you can, this is a mild asthma, and you can go out. You don't have to have the 12 weeks quarantine that the government suggests. So, and this is again, our traffic light give you advice regarding that. So for the heart, if you got mild valve heart disease, then you are on the green zone. You need to discuss it with your doctor, but there is a possibility that you can fast. But if you are got a severe heart failure, then definitely you are not allowed to fast, even if you want to, because this is against Islamic principle of وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. You have to be careful about your soul, about your body, because this is what Allah asked us to do, to be fair. And if you are unwell, it is not fair for you to fast, even if you want to. You have to take the rukhsah. You cannot take azima, because azima, in that specific situation may end you endangering your life, and that's not what the essence of fasting is. The essence of fasting is taqwa. كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. The essence, the main message of siyam, fasting, is to be God conscious, to have taqwa, and to be conscious of God's presence all the time whenever we do anything in our daily work or in our family or everywhere. So Ramadan obviously help us to try to contemplate on that, and I think it might be time to talk about how we can help people. So some of the other features of help, as we discussed some of them, but is to remember, number one, that whatever happened, if that COVID, if I am affected with COVID, if I got the corona, or one of my family affected, and God forbid, even if they end up in the intensive care, I have to recognize that, number one, this is the qadr of Allah. And as a Muslim, we have to accept the qadr. And whatever comes from God, there is khair in it. Maybe me cannot understand the khair now. Maybe I'll understand it in a week time, in a month time, in a year time. But if it happened, then there must be khair in it. And this is the big hadith that the ulama say, a lot of fiqh, that very important, that all our youth need to know, all our parents need to know. The hadith that when Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam took Ibn Abbas for a ride in his car, no car at that time, it was a donkey. So Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked Ibn Abbas for a donkey ride, and then while obviously, if you can imagine that he was Ibn Abbas at that time, maybe 10 years old, and then he gave him the blessed hadith, Ya ghulam, احفظ الله يحفظك احفظ الله تجده تجاهك إذا سألت فاسأل الله وإذا استعنت فاستعن بالله واعلم أن الأمة لو اجتمعت على أن يضروك بشيء لن يضروك إلا بشيء قد كتبه الله لك وإن اجتمعت على أن ينفعوك بشيء لن ينفعوك بشيء إلا ما قد كتبه الله عليك رفعت الأقلام وجفت الصحف. The translation of it is that, my fellow teenager relative, keep Allah in your heart, Allah will protect you. Keep your heart always linked to Allah. Whenever you do any action, remember Allah, then you will find Allah always there for you to help. You will not find yourself in difficulty. احفظ الله تجده تجاهك. And if you ask help, ask it from Allah. Now, we know that the other hadith explained that اعقل وتوكل, when Sayyidina Muhammad asked the Arabi before when he wanted to come and to enter the masjid, and he asked, "Oh Prophet of Allah, shall I tie my camel or shall I leave it open and do tawakkul?" The Prophet Muhammad said clearly that we all know, اعقل وتوكل. First tie, make the asbab, take all the asbab, plan and tie. Then do not depend on it, depend on Allah, make tawakkul on Allah. But do both. You can't do one and saying, if you do the last one alone, saying I'm mutawakkil, then you're mutawakkil. And if you depend on the asbab, then you are forgetting the musabbibul asbab. You're forgetting God, and your iman is affected. So inshallah.
Yeah, in this time, especially in Ramadan, in COVID lockdown, that we are actually thinking of this, thinking of Allah is there for us. Allah, the closer we come, the more Allah will come to us. And we know if we come with a hand, Allah will come with an arm. If we come walking, He will come running to us. And asking, and truly being sincere in asking Allah for help and for support. And you mentioned taqwa. It reminds me of mindfulness being totally, we talk about mindfulness in psychology, and it came from different origins, but actually this is the Islamic origin here, being totally God conscious all of the time. And this is what Ramadan, and it's lovely that actually we're talking about this in Ramadan, because Ramadan is reminding us that, because when we are feeling thirsty, we can think, yeah, I'm going to get a drink. No, I'm fasting. And because I'm fasting, why am I fasting? Because Allah is there. This is something I'm doing this month to come closer to Allah. So everything can bring us back to Allah. And in a split of a second, actually, those thoughts can make process for us if we allow that to think about what we're doing and how we're coming closer to Allah in this blessed month.
Yeah, and the second thing that you Sister Jazakallah khair, about the parents. Sometimes the parents have an anxiety more than the youngster, more than the youth, which is how I care my kids, whether girls or boys, and they're having their time, a lot of time on the internet, having time gaming. Why they're not as Islamic as I want them? We have to remember that these are. سيدنا علي ربوا أولادكم لزمان غير زمانك. Treat and raise your children for a different age. Yes. Give them their principle. As long as the principle is there, don't worry. As long as the kalima are there, don't worry. And subhanAllah, I always use the paradigm of the tree roots. And sometimes we find, people might have difficulties, especially youth nowadays in such society. They might have problems, they might go astray, but as long as the roots there, the kalima was there in their tarbiyah a long time ago, they have the basic deen, then the roots will prevent them from continue in the wrongdoing. They will come back. Mm-hmm. So, inshallah, as a father, as long as you've done, as the Quran tells us in Surah Al-Kahf, وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. Do good deed, then that will come in your, not only children, grandchildren will come. The khair will not go away.
MashaAllah, I love the way you reminded. Sorry, I was just going to say, I love the reminder there of raising your children for their time, for the children's time, not for your time as parents. And we've never been in this situation. If we look at now at Ramadan and the COVID time, we've never been in this time. This is a strange time. So raising your children for them to be, and understanding them and communicating with them and getting to them to be able to come closer to Allah with you in this journey together is a process. We're all learning together that journey to Allah, inshallah, in this lockdown. It's many examples there, but you were saying that the roots, which is so important, once you have a strong foundation there, it's like a house, isn't it? You have a strong foundation, the house will stay standing. Which if the foundation is weak, that house is weak. And alhamdulillah, parents are doing a lot, mashallah, in their foundation and have done a lot over the years. So if things are a little bit different at home at the moment, due to this anxieties, it will come back again. We can weed out the weeds very easily. If you have a nice garden, the weeds may grow, but you can easily weed them out to have those beautiful flowers and beautiful plants come back again. MashaAllah.
Yeah. So again, on the point of sabr, I just want to remind everybody that if you have been affected yourself, or if you got somebody, if you lost somebody, remember the sabr. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us in the hadith that we know, for the lady that came asking him, the lady who have sarah, who have epilepsy, and she keep losing consciousness, and he asked her, what do you want? You want me to make dua for you and you will get healing, complete healing, dua of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or do you want to have sabr and then you will have a reward of Jannah? So the sabr, see, so this is an example for all of us, for everybody who have affected that, whether he lost a loved one, a father or mother or a son in this COVID, that the sabr on this musibah is the reward of it is Jannah. The hadith, ما يصيب المؤمن من وصب ولا نصب إلا كتب له حط عنه سيئة رفع حط عنه سيئة أو رفع درجة. That, أو كما قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم, that whenever any infliction that believer have, even if it is a simple stick or a thrown, it will be beneficial for the believer. Either your sayyat will be erased, or your hasanat will be increased on the scale of Allah, inshallah. And the hadith, عجبا لأمر المؤمن إن أمره كله عجب إن أصابه ضراء صبر فكان خيرا له. That it is astonishing the believer that always in high score with Allah's banking, that he always have hasanat. If he have musibah, he will do sabr, he or she, then their score will be high. وَإِنْ أَصَابَهُ سَرَّاءَ شَكَرْ, and if he is in good time, he will do shukr, he will be grateful, and he or she will continue the reward, inshallah. So this is to remind us that as a believer, we have to, our iman, especially with the month of the Quran, reflection when we read the Quran, reading the Quran with tadabbur, doesn't have to be full with quantity, finishing the Quran. If you are, mashallah, if you are Arabic speaking or you go to the Quran, mashallah, that's fine. But if you're not, and this is even the reward will be more for you, because it's difficult for you to read the Quran and then reading the tafsir of it, the understanding of it. That is the blessing from Ramadan, when the Quran telling us, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Can they reflect on reading the Quran, or are their hearts are locked and they're reading but they're not understanding, they're not contemplating? So the Quran always asks us to do ibadat al-tafakkur, reflection. And this is the quarantine, give us a tremendous idea to reflection. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Quran came to him in reflection when he was in isolation in Ghar Hira. This is an example of us that big present can come at the time of isolation, at the time that we think there is difficulty. Inna ma'al usri yusran, inna ma'al usri yusran. Certainly, verily with difficulty comes ease. Within it, not even after it, within it comes ease.
MashaAllah, which is lovely as we're coming towards the end of this program, and we're thinking of that ease, MashaAllah, and that reflection, and what a privilege really to have Ramadan in this lockdown, that we have that opportunity to have that connection with Allah, to have the connection with Quran and our faith, and to be able to reflect on it and come out, inshallah, better people, stronger parents, inshallah, as we move into the next phase, because this month will enable us to be better. Alhamdulillah, what a privilege it is actually that we couldn't have planned it better, that we actually are having Ramadan. I know we may be missing the community, maybe missing links with others, but as individuals, we have an opportunity here to grow with our connection to Allah, inshallah. Is there any final tip in the last minute of the show, last 2 minutes that we're here, that you'd like to say to parents that are tuning in?
Use this opportunity, brother and sister. This is a unique opportunity for us to go back to our family, improve our relationship with our sons and daughters, reflect about life, reflect about relationship as a families, and how much we have severed it and how much we can repair it. reflect about our relationship as a human beings, where were we going, how much I've spent time for dunya and how much I spent time for my community and for akhirah. May Allah make us all reflecting on this blessed time, because this is going to be a hujjah for us on the day of judgment, that Allah gave you all the time, no excuse of work, most of us does not working, no excuse of anything, you're only in the house with your Quran, with your family, what you have done about it.
MashaAllah, you've inspired me to think of and reflect on myself and what I've done, and it's still not too late to make out a little chart, a little calendar, to get that process going, to do a bit more and reflect on myself to come out of this, inshallah. May Allah reward us all, but as we all come out this is better, inshallah, better individuals, better human beings, better to our community, better parents, and may Allah help us in that journey. Jazakallah khairan, brother, for giving up so much of your time today and for having this wonderful conversation. I've learned a lot. I'm feeling inspired ending this show today, mashallah. Can
I just say before I finish? Sorry, I forget to mention. In case of death, we actually produce a document about a matter of life and death. About if there is a death in the family. We BIMA help in it, actually produced by British scholars and imam, but we help in checking it, and it's a good opportunity that we need to talk about death. If a death happen, it is part of life. تبارك الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. So death is part of life, so remember it if it happens.
It is indeed. And all of that information is up on BIMA website, www.britishima, or YouTube. If you forget this, parents, this evening you're tuning in, just ring the studio or email the studio and we'll give you all the links, inshallah. Have a great day, inshallah. Don't forget us in your dua. And don't forget Dr. Amr and all the reminders he was giving us this evening, inshallah. Inshallah, happy Ramadan, Ramadan Kareem to everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, brother Dr. Amr.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله خير.